This collection of news excerpts paints a dynamic and often turbulent picture of the current socio-political landscape marked by significant clashes between different branches of the U.S. government, escalating international conflicts, and growing concerns over civil liberties and policy changes. From the labeling of Tesla vandalism as domestic terrorism to judicial standoffs over deportation flights and the resurgence of violence in Gaza. These reports highlight a period of intense activity and contention, both at home and abroad. One of the most striking themes is the ongoing tension between the Trump administration and the judiciary. This is vividly illustrated by the legal battles surrounding deportation flights to El Salvador. A federal judge, James Boasberg, ordered the administration to provide details about these flights, which occurred after his order to halt deportations under the Alien Enemies Act. The administration's resistance, citing state secrets privilege to protect information deemed harmful to national security, has led to a direct clash, with the DOJ even considering invoking this rarely used privilege. They argue that the court is overstepping its authority, while the judge has set a deadline for compliance or the formal invocation of the privilege. This dispute has the potential to escalate to the Supreme Court, raising fundamental questions about presidential deportation powers and the authority of federal judges, as well as the separation of powers within the U.S. government. Adding another layer to this conflict, President Trump publicly lashed out at the judge, calling for his impeachment, which drew a rare public rebuke from Chief Justice Roberts defending judicial independence. The administration's actions have also drawn legal challenges from other quarters. The U.S. Institute of Peace, an independent organization focused on conflict resolution, is suing the Trump administration following a controversial takeover by the Department of Government Efficiency and the ousting of its board. USIP alleges unlawful actions, including trespassing, destruction of vital records, and illegitimate appointments, arguing that these actions threaten its mission and independence. This case raises serious concerns about executive power and the autonomy of nonpartisan institutions crucial for U.S. diplomacy and peace efforts abroad. Concerns about civil liberties are also evident in the case of Mahmoud Khalil, a Columbia University alumnus and pro-Palestinian protest leader. A federal judge rejected the Trump administration's attempt to dismiss Khalil's challenge to his arrest by immigration authorities, moving the case to New Jersey. Khalil, a green card holder, claims he is a political prisoner targeted for his activism, prompting advocates to question the motives behind his arrest and raise concerns about free speech and the potential for politically motivated targeting of immigrants. Similarly, Fabian Schmidt, a German green card holder, claims he was violently interrogated upon returning to the U.S., alleging he was stripped, denied medication, and pressured to give up his residency. While U.S. Customs disputes these claims, the German government is investigating a potential shift in American immigration practices and liaising with EU partners to ensure human rights standards are upheld. These cases suggest a heightened scrutiny and potentially stricter enforcement affecting legal residents and visitors, raising questions about due process and the treatment of immigrants. On the international front, the situation in Gaza has tragically escalated following the breakdown of a ceasefire, with Israel resuming military operations that have resulted in the deaths of hundreds of Palestinians, including many children. Israeli forces have also retaken the Nedarim corridor, further bisecting Gaza and restricting movement. The death of a Bulgarian UN worker in the conflict has drawn strong condemnation from the UN Secretary-General, highlighting the dangers faced by humanitarian personnel. Simultaneously, hospitals in Gaza are struggling to cope with overwhelming casualties due to dwindling supplies. Regional tensions are further inflamed by reports of U.S. strikes in Yemen targeting Houthi strongholds, while President Trump demands Iran cease supplying the Houthis. These events underscore the fragility of peace in the region and the devastating human cost of ongoing conflict. Meanwhile, Putin has offered President Trump a limited 30-day ceasefire contingent on Ukraine halting attacks on Russia's energy infrastructure. in exchange for Russia halting its bombing of Ukraine's energy grid. Putin also demanded a complete cutoff of Ukraine's foreign military aid and intelligence, a condition deemed unacceptable by the Kremlin, but viewed with skepticism by Macron and Scholz. While Zelensky supports halting strikes on energy infrastructure, experts see Putin's offer as a tactic to entice the U.S. to abandon Ukraine. Despite these tensions, leaders have agreed to technical talks on a maritime ceasefire and plan to host ice hockey matches, indicating a complex and multifaceted relationship. The underlying concern remains that Russia aims to detach the U.S. from Europe, further destabilizing the geopolitical landscape. Domestically, Attorney General Pam Bondi has labeled recent attacks on Tesla dealerships and vehicles as domestic terrorism, revealing that the DOJ has charged several alleged perpetrators who could face significant prison time. This vandalism is reportedly tied to protests against Elon Musk's role in President Trump's Department of Government Efficiency, and has escalated across the U.S. and Canada. Musk has condemned these acts, expressing surprise at the hatred and violence from the left, while the Trump administration vows to retaliate and is investigating the funding and coordination behind these acts, with some individuals facing charges related to Molotov cocktail attacks. This development highlights the increasing polarization and the potential for politically motivated violence within the country. Changes within the Social Security Administration are also raising concerns. New identity verification measures require millions to verify claims online or in person, potentially impacting elderly and disabled individuals lacking computer access or mobility. This shift coincides with Trump administration-driven cuts by Elon Musk's U.S. DOGE service, including 7,000 job reductions and office closures, which critics argue is an attack on the system, while Acting Commissioner Leland Dudick claims these tighter requirements are for fraud prevention and will save $100 million with new internet-only banking. A memo reportedly warned that vulnerable populations would face challenges and experience extended wait times due to staff reductions. These changes have prompted harsh criticism from advocates and many Democrats, highlighting potential negative impacts on those who rely on Social Security benefits. In other news, the FDA is implementing restrictions on compounded versions of weight loss drugs like WEGAV and Zepbound, with a judge declining an injunction that would have allowed compounding pharmacies to continue making these versions. The FDA asserts that shortages of Zepbound, Mounjaro, Ozempic, and Wegovy are resolved, removing them from the shortage list. Deadlines have been set for pharmacies to halt compounding tirzepatide-based drugs and most semaglutide drugs. These restrictions mean individuals taking compounded versions should seek prescriptions for branded alternatives, potentially impacting access and cost for some patients. Amidst these larger events, there are also stories of personal tragedy and legal disputes in other spheres. The parents of Sudeksha Kananki, the missing University of Pittsburgh student, now believe she drowned in the Dominican Republic after initially suspecting abduction. This somber conclusion comes after Joshua Rhee, the last person to see her alive, claimed a strong wave separated them. Rhee, considered a person of interest but not charged, remains in the Dominican Republic, with his lawyers seeking his return to the U.S. Finally, a legal battle is unfolding in the entertainment industry, with Ryan Reynolds seeking dismissal from Justin Baldwin's lawsuit. Baldwin sued Reynolds and Lively, alleging defamation and extortion after Lively accused Baldwin of harassment. Reynolds' lawyers argue his involvement is peripheral and accuse Baldwin of seeking attention with clickbait allegations, defending Reynolds' description of Baldwin as a predator by citing Baldwin's past admissions of mistreating women. This case, stemming from disputes during the production of It Ends With Us, set for trial in March 2026. Offering a glimpse into the complexities and contentions within the entertainment world. In contrast to the prevailing themes of conflict and legal battles, a Harvard study highlights the positive impact of walking on cognitive health. revealing that taking at least 3,800 steps daily is linked to a lower risk of dementia. This low-impact exercise offers numerous benefits for both physical and mental well-being, including boosting cardiovascular health and strengthening muscles. Collectively, these excerpts provide a snapshot of a period characterized by significant political and legal clashes, escalating international tensions, evolving social policies, and personal narratives of loss and dispute. The Trump administration's assertive actions and the responses they have elicited from the judiciary, civil rights advocates, and international actors underscore a time of considerable upheaval and change, with potentially lasting consequences for both domestic and foreign affairs. See links below for more.